This is Khan. So I'm going to moderate this session. So our next current session will be on e-education. So in this session, we have three presenters. First is Dr. N. Sudha Bhuvaneshwari. She is Associate Professor of Dr. G.R. Damodaran College of Science and Science. And second presenter is Abdul Matin Sheikh. He's an entrepreneur from Bangladesh and CEO of Backbone Limited. And the third presentation is from Peter Blay, and he is from the APNIC, and he's the training curriculum manager of APNIC. So before we start, three of our presenters is one presenter cannot enter yet. So just a moment. So here we start with our presenter from Dr. N. Sudha Bhuvaneshwari, and she is a doctorate in computer science and working in academia for last 20 years. Her specialization in networking, and she authored many journals and books on cybersecurity, cybersecurity intelligence, networks, and web services. And she has been awarded many local and international awards. She is also involved in the activities of Internet Society, APNIC, and APRIGF. So, Dr. Sudha, please.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for introducing Mr. Khan. I'm actually very happy to address this gathering because I'm also a fellow some few years back in APNIC, and now I'm a speaker in this group. So I'm very happy to share this. This is actually a very vast area what we are talking about. Like right now, it is actually e-education at the time of pandemic. So as we know, the teaching and learning process has started evolving. There are a lot of changes happening and people have started using technology. But now people are fully into technology and we are pushed or forced to do that. And I'm just going to see what are all the plus and the minus of going into this e-learning and how we as a educator from our side can contribute to the development of this particular educational e-learning process. So that will be my presentation. I'll just start sharing the presentation. So my topic, I'm just talking about the paradigm shift in the teaching learning process. Though this has not happened all of a sudden, it's a slow process. Already people have started using technology. But with the perspective of pandemic, how the teaching learning process has changed. So we are just going to see what is the paradigm shift in the teaching learning process along with the pandemic. So it is keeping on changing. So not a single day change, it is actually keeping on changing. So we're just going to see what is the paradigm shift. So coming to the teaching learning process, the teaching learning process, it is actually a two-way process. So where different peoples are involved. It is nothing but a transformation process of knowledge from one person to another person. So the person who transforms the knowledge is the teacher and the person who receives the knowledge is the learner. So in the teaching learning process, it is actually a continuous process where we start with planning, implementation, and evaluation. So the teacher has to plan, the teacher has to implement, and the teacher has to evaluate. And this is again based on the feedback and reflection from the student or whoever is learning, the process still continues. So this is a continuous process. Similarly, when you talk about the learning process is also continuous. So the learning process is what the teacher teaches, and the teacher has got some learning expectations, and the teacher supports the students, and the student has to gain knowledge. He has to learn. with the prior knowledge, whatever he has, and the new acquired knowledge, that is equal to learning. And the teacher makes an assessment and the grade is given to the student, and the assessment is to see whether the student has met the expectations of the teaching process. So what is the paradigm shift? So this is nothing but a radical change in the core concepts or the core practices of a given domain, discipline, or field. Whatever may be the field, it's not only in education, it can be anything. So if there is a sudden change or a radical change which goes gradually in the core concepts and practices of a given domain, discipline, or field, we call it as a paradigm shift. And the recent paradigm shift in education is the way in which the curriculum is defined. Now, we are forced to define new curriculums. We are forced to use new technologies. We are in a position so that the teaching learning process goes without any hindrances. So the recent paradigm shift in education is the way in which curriculum is defined and technology is used. So what are the impacts of COVID-19 on this education is public financing of education. So everybody have to spend our own money to learn. Now, not only going to paying the fees for the college or paying the school fees, tuition fees, or any other fees. Now we are in a position to use our own technology, use our own resources, and we have to see the finances done by ourselves for all these purposes until and otherwise the government gives a proper support. So this is one problem faced by many countries. The government has to be proper supporting so that this public financing problem could be avoided. Public financing of education. That's one problem that this education industry faces. And international student mobility has retarded. The international student or people go around places to learn new things, to acquire knowledge, visit places, social networking, everything has been hindered because of this pandemic. The international student mobility has been retarded or it has come down, and the loss of instructional time delivered in a school setting. So in a school setting, we teach theoretically and also make them work practically. Now this practical exposure is actually missing. So the instructional time, how to do things, though we can deliver our talk or deliver our lecture online, still the instructional time delivered in the school setting or the college setting is actually lost. And the measures to continue students learning during school closure is another challenge what we are facing. Students don't turn up to the classes, and that is another problem that we face. Though it is online, we are open online, we are doing it online. The people, those who continue the learning process is very less, and teachers has to be prepared to support digital learning. So we people who are in the technology side, we actually make it faster to learn and cope up with the paradigm shift. But people, those who are in the arts and science, arts, literature groups, those who are not much exposed to this digital platform, make it, they feel it very tough, and it is a very big challenge for those teachers, and preparing those teachers to support the digital learning process is again a big task. And the other problems what is faced by this particular industry is when and how to reopen schools. So there are a lot of plans going on each and every country. The government is planning like we can open the school, we can have the schools batch wise, the number of people can be split into 2 different classes. All those things are happening, but there's no one solution for this. And the class size is again a critical parameter, because in a class of 60 people, so dividing each people into a group of 20 and taking the same sessions for all the 3 classes, it becomes very difficult even if you reopen the schools. And due to the lockdown, the vocational education is on the higher side. People have started searching for courses outside other than their school studies. So what is e-education? E-education or e-learning is nothing but delivery of education by electronic teaching media via computer or a smartphone with the aid of internet. So what are the goals and expectations of e-learning is? It can enhance. So this is actually the goal, or the expectations from people, those who are doing this e-learning process. The quality of learning and teaching will enhance. It will improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the teaching learning process, and the user accessibility and time. So they can, at home, they can just sit, and the time flexibility. There is no time that they have to travel. That time is not wasted. So the accessibility and flexibility could be improved. And it adds up to the self-paced learning. So your own interest, people starts learning with all the aid of technology. So self-paced learning improves, time management is better, and this reading can happen only because of self-motivation. A demonstrated self-motivation is expected, improved virtual communication and collaboration, a broader global perspective, and refined critical thinking and new technical skills. So these are actually the expectations when we go with the e-learning process. And what is the current global e-education scenario is more than around the world, more than 1.2 billion children and around 186 countries are affected by the school closures due to the pandemic. And even before COVID-19, we have already adapted education, technology in education. There is a global reach. EdTech investments have reached US dollar 18.66 billion in 2019. And now the current projection due to the pandemic and other things, the current projection for online education is estimated to reach 350 billion US dollars by 2025. So it is almost on the rise, and people are going from normal education, the traditional education method, into EdTech. So with the surge in COVID-19, there's a significant surge in the usage of language apps, virtual tutoring, video conferencing, and online learning softwares. So when you talk about the Asia Pacific, so what is this e-education across Asia Pacific? There's a growing penetration of smartphones coupled with the ease of availability of high-speed internet connectivity in several countries in Asia Pacific drives the e-learning market growth. So we have a good number of internet connectivity with a lot of smartphone usages. So this is on the higher side. And according to a study in February 2020, around 200 million primary and secondary school students in the country, they have started writing their semester exams online. So the assessment part has also been taken part online, and it's going on. It's going on online. So roughly over 32% of the e-learning market's growth is originating from APAC. So this region has got more, it contributes to around 32% of the e-learning market growth. And this reason, the main reason, because APAC alone contributes to 32%, is half of all internet users are from this particular region. And globally, there are more than 5 billion mobile users in the world, and more than half of all internet users, they rely exclusively. So mostly, they don't go for laptops or desktops or all those things. They rely mostly on their mobile devices to join their classes. So this chart shows the development, like in 2016, the usage of EdTech, and in 2026, this will be the rise in the educational technology using e-learning or e-education. And now we are into 2021, you can just see there's a gradual increase in the usage of e-learning technologies. So there are different mobile learning platforms available in APAC, and one major e-learning platform, mobile learning platform, is by Byju's. So this is actually a Bangalore-based EdTech company who perform an online tutoring, and it was founded only in the year 2011. Now, this is the world's most highly valued EdTech company. So they have just given an offer, like during the pandemic, they have offered a lot of free courses. And now currently their customers, those who have registered for this Byju's, is more 200% on the higher side. So they have brought the market up. So they just know how to get the market. They have given a lot of online free courses, which has captured the market. Then in China, this is in India, Byju's from India, and Tencent Classroom has been used extensively since mid-February in China. As a 250 million full-time students, they resume their studies using this online platform. And LARC is actually a Singapore-based collaboration institute, and this was developed by ByteDance. It was actually created as an internal tool to meet their own exponential growth, and then they began offering this product to the e-learning market, where teachers and students, they get unlimited video conferencing time, auto translation capabilities, real-time co-editing of project work, and smart calendar scheduling. And Alibaba's digital learning solution is DingTalk, and this supports a large scale of remote work, and they have used Alibaba Cloud to deploy more than 1 lakh new cloud servers in just 2 hours in the previous months. So this is actually a record, and this shows how the e-learning process is expanding. So within 2 months, 1 lakh cloud servers has been done by Alibaba. So what are the benefits of digital learning over the traditional method? So it can make a student smarter and can make a student self-motivated and more accountable for whatever he study and whatever he writes. And it also involves, digital learning also involves a lot of tools which we use, also involves educators and parents to a deeper extent. So even the parents and educators are involving themselves into these type of digital learning tools. They sit along with the children. They sit along with the children to see what is happening. So digital learning tools and technology helps in increased information sharing and increasing students' employability, and digital learning tools helps in increasing the students' employability. And students are able to show their competencies. There's a possibility of collaboration wherever you are, from any remote location. You can easily collaborate. You can share knowledge. You can easily communicate with the teacher, and it is lower cost and stress-free. That's what is actually the benefit of digital learning over the traditional method. But there are some challenges too when we come talk about the online learning process. Technical issues which we often face. So when we go to the classroom, often people go out of the classroom, log in again, log out. So they say, well, whenever we ask, they say internet speed is not there, technical issues are there. So this is one major problem what we actually face, and the distracted, students are distracted. And they waste their time just sitting in front of the system, or they just switch on the system and they just leave the place. That's another problem, and it is really very difficult for the students to stay motivated. They need to be motivated, and they do not understand what they expect from the course and what the staff expects in the course, and the lack of in-person interaction, and the people are getting adapted to a very unfamiliar technology. So the future is again uncertain. So what's going to happen in the future is again an uncertain. And underprivileged students is a major issue. Underprivileged students without internet access have been hit hard by the new online educational trends. And it is almost impossible for many of them to continue their education, as many parents, those who are in the wages, those who are getting daily wages and all those people, they suffer sending their student or to spend on this online teaching methodology. So this sudden change in the teaching learning methodology has created confusion amongst educators, also due to lack of experience and absence of effective ways of interaction. So not only this, the technical issues, there are also mental health challenges and reflections. So according to a survey by Young Minds, around 83% of young respondents have agreed that the pandemic has worsened their mental health conditions due to school closures, loss of routine, and restricted social connections. So they say it's a time period where we experience reduced motivation towards study. We are not concentrating on our study. We have a lot of pressure to learn independently. So we have there's nobody to tell that we have to learn, and we have pressures in learning independently. Our daily routines have gone, the timing we sleep, the time we eat, everything has changed. And there are also many dropouts, and measures has to be taken when these instances are considered. So 25% of their study sample reported students are experiencing anxiety symptoms, which were positively correlated with increased concerns about academic delays, economic effects of the pandemic, and the impacts on daily life. So what are the other set of people? There's another set of people, those who also face a very big challenge due to this e-learning process, that is the students with special needs. So this is another most affected group is the special education students. They rely on the school services for speech and physical therapy. And they don't want any hands-on instruction with Zoom. So taking a Zoom class is pointless for them. And the uniqueness about any special education is the teachers have to create individual education plans for each and every student. But now in this pandemic on the e-learning platform, it has become very harder when classes are held virtually, and the teachers have no choice but to turn to a one-size-fits-all model, which will never work out for these kind of students. And so hybrid schedules are also there for special kids. Hybrid schedules can prove problematic as well. And special education teachers explained that consistency is hugely important for their students' success. Now coming to the reimagining education post-COVID. So post-COVID, what's going to happen to this industry, educational industry? We are reimagining the educational industry. It's going to change forever. It's not going to be the traditional method anymore. So we are going to concentrate on blended learning will be the new norm that involves, already it has started. Now, because in some countries they have opened the college, few people are online and few people are offline. So they come live. So this has become a new norm that involves various stakeholders who try to address challenges and plug the gap in the education system. So one key takeaway from the pandemic is that conventional classroom teaching with human contact is still the best mode of learning. However, technology can be an enabler that can play a significant role in the education system. So we have the opportunity to move away from a model of the school of the last century and reimagine the school of the future. So in the future, yeah.
Could you please, your time is already over, so could you please wrap up?
Okay, so what's going to be the future of learning is we need to give open source e-learning solutions. We have to concentrate on blended learning methodologies, personalized learning powered by AI, redefined role of educators, convenient methodologies to ease teachers' tasks, rising demand for skill-based short duration courses, and adopting digital learning design paths for learning and development in the new age necessity. So for all these things, we want to meet the future education, then we need to provide our students with appropriate technological support, and also the blended mode, the students should get adapted to the blended mode. As a closing remark, the education community owes to bridge that digital divide to harness global initiatives and reimagine learning to enable each and every child to fully realize their right to quality education and fulfill their potential, and enable them to compete on a global platform that is ever more connected, technologically driven, and online. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sudha, for your nice presentation. So as we have little bit shortage of time, so we will take the QA later. Okay. So next presenter is Mr. Sheikh Mahin Mateen. So he's he's an entrepreneur from Bangladesh, and he is mainly focusing on education and poverty, solving the problem of poverty and education. So he is a Monbusho scholar, and also he is a consultant from JICA and also UNDP. So, Mr. Mahin Mateen, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think it's a good afternoon and good evening in Japan, and I think yeah, good afternoon in India too. So, may I share my PPT? Yeah. Thank you very much. So, is it working?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all. I'm very glad to present here today. And I think Mr. Mahfouz and Mr. Khan already explained myself shortly. So I would like to also introduce myself at a glance. So I studied at Dhaka University, Department of Development Studies, and started this project eEducation from 2010. And also I got a chance to study at Hitotsubashi University Business School, and took my master's and master's program from Hitotsubashi. At the same time, actually, currently I'm working as an education expert, ADB, UNDP, JICA, and World Bank. And sometimes I also used to work as a consultant for Casio. So this is actually, that's a very broad introduction. So I would like to introduce myself more details. Actually, I will share how actually I achieved that the progress, and also how I achieved the international reward. So because there is a lot of story behind me. So in 2012, I awarded by Dell Social Innovation Challenge, and 2013 I also got international award from at the Youth of Asia Award from Tokyo. And 2014, I was awarded by University of Tokyo. So And 2015, the first time in Bangladesh, we organized a big conference, the first international conference on digital education in Bangladesh. So that's actually that introduction, how actually I achieve, why actually I need to achieve that goal. So how I actually achieve that goal, and how can we achieve that goal? So that is actually so far question. So I feel to achieve the goal and to achieve my the success, it related with three most key points. One is like started from my mission, and second one, the power of collaboration, and third one, the new challenge that could make a success or a success in a project, a success in a man or women, whatever. So the first one is start from my own mission. I would like to share my the project starting from 2010. I'm the first guy from my hometown. My hometown is a small island. It's the island area, especially the around the river. So I'm the first one who actually came to top university. I mean Dhaka University from the small village or teeny village. So when I started my university in Dhaka, I found there is a lot of problem that happened during my study life in high school and college life in my village, because you know that the village side in the countryside of Bangladesh, still there is a big, I think, shortage of teachers and the lack of skilled teachers and lack of classroom and facilities. And you can find easily that 100 students managed by one teacher. So this is very average case of Bangladesh, especially in the village area. But I wanted to solve this issue, because I'm also the first person who came from the village to the top university. I found my best friends, my juniors, who actually drop out after high school, who couldn't have dreamed to come top university because of the intensive lesson of admission test is very expensive in Dhaka. So if you want to take the intensive lesson, you have to come to Dhaka and or big city and take the intensive lesson. A 6-month duration for intensive lesson is so expensive, including food and transportation and admission fee. But my father income was $100 per month. So how he can support like $1,000 for the admission test? So this is the real scenario of Bangladesh. So in 2009, I met 2 guys from Japan. That these 2 guys actually from Waseda University, and I met with them in Dhaka University, and we discussed actually how we can solve this social issue, especially that those students would like to go top university, but in the village area, they don't have any intensive lesson school and intensive intensive lesson class that reach to the top university or reach to their dream. So unfortunately, they share with me the fantastic idea from Japan, especially the case of Toshini School. The name is DVD-based e-learning method. So that means that DVD can change the students' dream. So students can study at home or at any place, anywhere using DVD. So I got the idea, and I found the top best teacher from the intensive school area, I mean the coaching school area in Dhaka city. And I convinced a few teachers and shoot the best teachers lecture in DVD, and bring to my village, small village, and started a first project named eEducation. The project actually is a kind of like a second-hand laptop and using second-hand laptop and second-hand computer, and put the DVD to the laptop and computer. And I managed 30 to 35 students in our first class. So the student started, using the DVD class, and sometimes I come back to my village and make a tutoring to them and also nursing them. So the project was initially is like kind of something is better than nothing. So at least they can try, they will fight to go top university, or they will fight to go nearest university. Because I would like to tell you that, especially in Dhaka University, for the social science admission test, so out of only 200 seat, out of the 78,000 or 75,000 candidates every year fighting for 200 seats. So it's very, very, you have to take a very intensive lesson. You have to fight like within 1 hour, you have to complete 100 questions in reading, in writing, and also in MCQ process. So you have to be mission to have a chance in Dhaka University. Anyway, we started the same training in my village using the first eEducation school, and the first year in the first students, the 30 students was trying their best to study hard using DVD and using DVD and our nursing and tutoring process. And finally, after half a year, the one student got chance in Dhaka University just using DVD and also that the top teacher lecture only just offline model. Because in the countryside, especially many areas of Bangladesh in 2010, the internet penetration was not so good. Still, actually, my area internet penetration is still not good. So that is like a big success for us, and we continued the project until now, especially using the offline model. So we continue the project actually until 2020, before the COVID started. So after 10 years, the project success using the DVD and also offline model, I would like to say the 450 students now studying in different public university, and they got chance in the different public university of Bangladesh. And I would like to you can see the statistics in 1972 to 2009, only me from my hometown to top university. But using these DVD lessons and DVD and offline method, already more than 450 students study in different public university, 65 in Dhaka University. So that is actually the one of big success of this offline model. And 2021, we started a new style of eEducation. I will share later of my slide. So second one is the power of collaboration. How actually the collaboration made us more successful and more actually, how can I say, more techno-oriented project. So before that, actually, we made the first collaboration with the University of Tokyo and Kyoto University, especially the impact evaluation survey on eEducation. They actually provided the with DVD and without DVD, the assertive-based survey, and they found actually fantastic results. So the Professor Sawada, he actually conducted the impact evaluation survey for 3 years on our project. And actually, he's currently working as a chief economist of Asian Development Bank. So that is one successful collaboration. I think the result of the research was fantastic. With DVD students, their result 36% higher than without DVD students. So that is the actual impact evaluation survey. In 2015, we organized a big conference, organized the first international conference on digital education. And we invited so many e-learning companies in Bangladesh. And also we invited as a guest in our conference, the education minister, and also the ICT minister, and also central bank governor, and Japan ambassador, and many activists who actually involved directly with the e-education activities. So outcome of this project and output of this project to make sure that the social movement by digital education that announced by our education minister, the first time in Bangladesh, they announced, okay, let's go ahead with as a social movement by e-education or e-learning or digital education. In 2016, we actually started to collaborate with a Japanese big company, name is KGS company. The KGS company has a great software. The software is creating the e-contents. Actually, as I mentioned that previously we made digital contents using like camera, shooting, and a lot of things. And it takes actually huge time and money. But the KGS company, they have a great product, like a great software. The software can compress the data pack like 100 GB to 1 GB. So we started collaboration with the company. And we created actually a lot of thousands of contents with Japanese company's software, Thinkbo software. And we put it to the mobile phone. It's offline based. So students can easily take the phone and can upload and also download from our website or apps. So can easily use. The problem is that the mobile phone is still because of the micro screen. So many students couldn't actually study a lot because of the mobile phones the screen. So we thought that that is a good time to introduce actually the new idea, new product from our social enterprise, especially the tab. How actually tab can introduce the education materials and education contents, only focus the especially the e-learning or e-education. So first in 2017 we introduced the first ever in Bangladesh the Edu tab. And it's our actually own product. It's actually is one of the profit. Some profit comes from this product, and we launched the product with the collaboration the Japanese company, the ThinkBoard. And 2017 we also collaborated with Casio Skill Up Seminar. Actually Casio Japan. So the Casio Japan mainly introduced in Bangladesh how to be a classes mathematician in a technology. So this kind of program in Bangladesh is a first ever, and we introduced the first time we introduced the Bengali book how actually solve the mathematics using the technology or Casio calculator or different way. So that we collaborated with also Bangladesh Mathematical Society and University of Dhaka, and also Casio and my organization. And we also cover more than 2,000 teachers train up in a very rough and tough train up how to be a technology oriented mathematician that we invited from more than 550 schools in a workshop area, and we did actually 60 times workshop. It was like a weekend full day workshop for the teacher. So that is the collaboration we did actually with our activities. And next, I would like to actually the show. I would like to present my new challenge. What actually we are doing with e-education or e-learning. As I mentioned, from 2010 to 2020, we did only for like for offline model, just DVD based, and those areas, especially for those areas, there were no internet connection or internet penetration. But 2020, we dramatically moved to the online education. So I will share actually our new challenge. The new challenge is one is like we introduced the first ever online platform is a Backbone School. It's a application and web page, and Backbone Tutors is a Uber model, and also Smart Lecture Correction Service for Japanese high school, and also Backbone software. So first I would like to show the Smart English support program to Japanese high school students. We started from 2016. This is very, emerging program. Was like a very nice program for Japanese kids. The Japanese kids who want to learn the writing skill, how to develop their writing skill. So we started this program with a Japanese big education company, especially in a partnership with a Japanese big publication company, Keirinkan. This program is really mainly serving the grade 11 and grade 12 students. So students is writing an English essay, and our tutors from Bangladesh, we are actually one of the biggest tutor platform in Bangladesh. Now you can see the Backbone tutors. So our tutors actually correct their essay and correction their writing skill, and also they give a feedback, and it's totally human task based service. So currently we have more than 83,000 students in Japan, and number of current school now we have a 330 school in Japan, and number of correctors in Bangladesh now 150, and our targeted to reach school 3,000 by actually 2025. That is actually totally the profit-based program, and we have a income from the Japan. So this program also we introduced also in Bangladesh in 2020. So let's see the next. Sorry. And due to the success of the Japan program. So sorry, Mr. Khan, how many minutes I have left now?
Yeah, you should wrap up soon.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm doing very,
Yeah.
So anyway, so based on the Japan success case, we introduced also same program in Bangladesh. Name is Backbone Tutors, is Uber model. So in the parents of Bangladesh, they can hire two way of our tutors. One is like a Uber model. They can find the nearest tutor using their apps. And second one, they can hire our correctors, like from very high talented and well trained up characters who have we ensure the security, and they are actually their merit, everything. This is like a very certified application in Bangladesh at this time. So we don't hire actually those who are score not standard at our exam system. So this is like Uber-based tutor, and we introduced just in 2020. In 2021, we also collaborated with two big projects. One is with Japan JFCI. Another one is a tab-based e-contents and audio tutoring to non-formal education kids. This project supported by Asian Development Bank. And this is like a two kind of tutoring. One is like we put the all contents in the tablet, is offline based, and also phone call tutoring. When we send the data pack in the tablet, automatically our learning management system can catch all data, students' learning behavior, students' other information in our database. So that is like a two project now ongoing with Japan JFCI and also Asian Development Bank. And also we also have a team supporting many organizations, especially transcription and also other activities. So I would like to actually wrap up my presentation. So last one is online platform Backbone School app and website. As I mentioned that 10 years, we actually did only just offline model of e-learning, just tab-based program, or sorry, DVD-based program. But in 2021, we started that program with Backbone School, like online based. So this program almost like the physical one program we are running in online. So that we actually invented one good idea, one good model based on the offline model and also our current online experience. The model is the 4C model, is a backbone alternative education model in Bangladesh. So this model is like we actually hire like suppose online student join online, and we hire like some live course. The live course, the students under one live course. So he actually does motivate, and also we provide like a DVD online the pre-recorded lecture and tutoring and a lot of things. You can see here that there is like a three major problem. The issue one, students lose the motivation sometimes because they cannot find the reason to study. Second one, students cannot catch up the classes because there were few follow-up classes. And third issue is students cannot do self-improvement because most of them don't know how to do it. And fourth issue, students cannot improve their writing skill because there were few tutors who can do it. So that is actually the real experience we found like last 10 years using actually the field level study and field level project activities. But we found we invented very good model that can be solved this four issue. That model would help to solve the four issue. The first issue we can solve is like a motivational college. The motivational college means we invited our few alumni. We invited some top people like ministry people or like a top influencer or like a Facebook influencer who can motivate students every week. And also issue two, we give the supplementary class through the apps and web page. And I've talked about the issue three first. First issue is like we provide supplementary class. Second one, we providing live course program. And third one, motivational college. And fourth is writing correction. So these four we are, like we mentioned, that a backbone 4C model to solve the four issue, especially that we face in live coaching in a village area, and also the offline model of eEducation last 10 years. So that's actually that introduction of that my organization. And now that we have actually we have 40 full-time colleagues and also 150 the part-time and 150 part-time tutors serving the Japan. And also we have more than 2,000 active tutors who are serving the local market. And we have nice partners and supporters. That's all. And thank you very much. Sorry for actually very big presentation with a short time. Maybe I made so many,
okay, no problem. Thank you for your very interesting presentation. Though the time was a little bit up, So we will not take this question for this presentation also. If you have any question, please ask in the chat window, and Mr. Mahin will answer in the chat window. So we will move forward with our third presenter.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mahin. So our third presenter is Peter Blee. So, and he's the training curriculum manager from APNIC, and he was also serving, just a moment. He was the director and senior advisor of Australian government for Department of Education and Training, and he has a long background in education. So, Mr. Peter, please.
Great, thank you so much, and it's a privilege to be here to talk with you. The title of this presentation is the adoption of e-learning, M-learning, and HiFlex during a pandemic from an APNIC perspective. And my role at APNIC is the product manager responsible for the APNIC Academy and the users on it, as well as the training curriculum manager. As many of my colleagues have mentioned, I think the global impact that COVID has had on the education system is been, it has been profound. I think it's probably second to perhaps the public health system. The education has been impacted more than any other sector globally. And it has completely disrupted, I think, the education system, affecting 1.5 billion learners in more than 190 countries and all continents. And closures due to COVID and due to the quarantine processes of government and regulation has had a significant impact on the world's population. In this presentation, I just wanted to go through some of the things we've been doing at APNIC, which you know is serving 56 economies and its members in the Asia Pacific region. And part of that is some of the work we've been doing on the APNIC Academy during this time, this unprecedented time. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the impacts that COVID has had on APNIC's training program and changes that have occurred in the last year or two around learners' expectations for learning. And then talk a little bit about, on those 3 dot points there, a bit about the M-learning, the HiFlex and e-learning as we see it from APNIC's perspective. So just talking very briefly about the APNIC platform, for those of you who've not visited, this is the learning platform that's available to, it's globally available, but it's available for the Asia Pacific region and for our members and for the broader internet community. It's a not-for-profit platform, and its mission is just to support internet development in the Asia Pacific region. And there's a whole raft of different courses that are available, all are free. And there's a whole series of virtual labs there that allow people to learn on different networks and to develop their technical skills around those networks. And that's also a free service. And we also provide live webinars for topical new things that people wish to learn. And so we offer those on a monthly basis. And for those of you who are not familiar with the APNIC Academy, it has some 15,000 learners on the platform from all walks of life. But the 5 areas that we mainly focus on are in IPv6 deployment, internet routing, InfoSec, NetSec, DNSSec, MPLS, and SDN as topic areas. And here it gives you an example of some of the things that are available on the Academy. Like many of my colleagues, I think the impacts of COVID on APNIC's training have been the inability to travel. We had a program that would travel extensively in the Asia Pacific region. Due to travel restrictions, that's not been possible. Even if they were open up, the restrictions of limiting people within classrooms has limited our ability to reach out to the communities that are most need. And during COVID, we've seen a significant demand in technical training and technical assistance. And we think that's got to do with a lot of the networks and the loads and the growth that happened during the COVID period. But also we've seen the impacts on our members, on their health, their well-being, and the quarantine impacts that affected their daily lives. And internally, our trainers and those that support the delivery efforts, there's been a lot of time in pivoting and rethinking about the training that we do. And similarly, I think in the higher education sector, there's been massive learning loss, also been fewer students, missing students, and a whole raft of different complexities that have resulted as of COVID. There's also been, I think, it's in fairness to say that I think it's affected all sectors of the education sector, from the primary, secondary to tertiary. And so I put some dot points up there of some of the things that have been happening in Sri Lanka, the Philippines, China, New Zealand, and Indonesia, which very much have happened as a result of the COVID and the response of governments and departments in those jurisdictions. What we've seen from the APNIC Academy perspective, and this includes partial data for this calendar year, is quite a spike in the amount of users and the amount of people doing learning online. We could have easily have thought that maybe less people would do more training and there would be learning loss. But in fact, our experience has been very different. We've found a lot more people have connected and a lot more people have wanted learning where it hasn't been possible to access that within face-to-face settings. And so here you can see in the blue graph that we're just about to hit 16,000 users on the Academy. The yellow refers to the virtual labs, which have had over 10,000 contact hours, and the others relate to the different online courses that we provide. One of the things that we've seen that's been a bit of a stark change since March last year, when COVID was announced by the World Health Organization as a pandemic, is a growing number of the next generation, newer, younger people connecting to the Academy for their learning. Again, a lot of the training that we provide on the Academy is very specialized. It's very technical. It's not something that's readily available on multiple platforms. It's also vendor neutral. And so if you have a look at the graph there on the left-hand side, most of the users on the Academy are sitting between the ages of 18 and 34. And so that's really the X generation and the Y generation, or referred to as the millennial generation. And so that's the largest cohort. That's on the Academy. And if you have a look to the right-hand side, you'll see some really interesting statistics. So this is related to some 57,000 active users, or users that have visited the Academy since the 1st of January last year to today. And you can see the different numbers of users that have been coming into the Academy, with quite a high proportion of people coming in with mobile devices. So there you can see from nearly 2,000 people from Myanmar, just shy of 1,000 people are connecting with mobile devices. And you're seeing similar trends even with bigger cohorts, like in Bangladesh and also in Indonesia. You're seeing really large numbers of people coming in with mobile devices. And we've seen this trend occur post the global pandemic being announced. So if we have a look at the global mobile traffic, and this is consistent with some of my colleagues who have already spoken, the use of mobile traffic on the internet is increasing. 2020 had a little bit of a lull, but it did pick up. But you'll see in 2017, 18, 19, more than 50% of global internet traffic was using mobile or smart devices. And the recent data from January 2020, looking at 4.66 billion active internet users worldwide, 54.18% are mobile users that are using the internet currently. So related to that, there is a lot of predictions and there's a lot of commentary on where mobile growth might end up. Some have said year on year out, growth of about 27%. There seems to be a fair bit of consistency that by 2025, which is not too many years away, that there'll be almost 3/4 of users, 72.6% of users, that will access the web solely via their smartphones, or equivalent to 3.7 billion people. And most of that growth from some of the commentators related to this space relates to China, India, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Pakistan. And I've highlighted those ones in blue because they're within the Asia Pacific region. But also 2.4 billion people won't own a mobile phone by 2025. And similarly, the area that we're all interested in within the room here is obviously the Asia region and the Asia Pacific region. And it's important, I think, from a bearing of growth, it represents more than 50% of internet users globally, with Europe representing close to 15%, which is about 63% of world global traffic on the internet. And I see those figures just growing and growing, with plenty of uncapped growth happening in the Asia Pacific region. And so with the growth in mobile learning and the use of mobile devices to connect to the internet, we're seeing a trend in more and more learners wanting access to M-learning. So what is M-learning? It's basically anytime, anything, anywhere. It allows people to use the mobile platforms and its capabilities, allows for offline learning, and allows to facilitate active and self-directed learning. And some of the things we're doing on the APNIC Academy are meeting that demand, particularly with a focus on the next gen of users. And so that's seeing a focus for us more and more, as we're seeing more and more people coming from the big economies that are users into making use of the Academy. The other thing I think is really notable that's been happening during COVID is hybrid, flexible, or high flex. And so if you haven't heard about this before, really this is combining face-to-face and online learning. There are thousands of institutions that have adopted this during the COVID period. Most of them have been within the higher education sector. But each training event is offered in person and synchronously online and asynchronously online, and essentially gives the students the ability to decide how they wish to participate in any one activity. So to kind of look at it in a different way in design, HiFlex is really a combination of hybrid and flexible, but hybrid's a combination of face-to-face and online e-learning. And so you'll see all these mixes of classes, and I could put 1,000 photos on here, where people are setting up in the rooms where they've got one screen focusing with people connecting in virtually and another screen focusing on slides or material, but then a cohort of people that's inside the classroom where there's been restrictions to the amount of people that can attend. And this is becoming more and more the norm, particularly in the higher education sector, which I think will broaden out to the vocational sector or the TVET sector. HiFlex really does mean more inclusion. So rather than a split between traditional face-to-face and online training where learners are separated from face-to-face and online, and face-to-face separated from online learners, really HiFlex is making it more inclusive, where it's bringing everyone together. In order to do that, though, it does take a lot more effort. We've had some experience with it at APNIC, but it really is about keeping it simple, thinking about how you're looking at the different cohorts of people and the different activities. And for e-learning, from an APNIC perspective, because of the growth of mobile and the growth of video-based learning, we know that YouTube represents about 2 billion active users globally, and I think Facebook's sitting about 2.9 billion active users. But if we look at YouTube just alone, which is 100% video-based, 80% of Gen X users say YouTube has helped them become more knowledgeable about something, improve or gain their skills to prepare for their future at 68%, and 70% of millennial users watch YouTube in the past year to learn how to do something and learn something. And there's a trend here. There's a next generation, a younger generation, with mobile phone technology, faster, 3G, 4G, 5G technologies, getting access to learning on YouTube and access to more video-based learning. And similarly at APNIC, we've moved more, because of this change that's been happening, we've moved from traditional learning and development-based e-learning, which you'll see on the left-hand side there, to more on the right-hand side. So we're building a lot more bite-sized, more smaller learning chunks where we're making it video-based. We're also adding things like language subtitles, which the APNIC Academy is supporting 10 languages, allows people to jump and to tag and bookmark different sections, but also allows for bandwidth considerations depending on your speed of internet, and also to be responsive to different mobile phone and different devices that you might access. And I think on this last slide, I came across this in the last few days, but LinkedIn Learning Workplace Learning Report of 2020 which looked at 722 million plus members in 200 companies with 55 million companies, 14 million jobs in 115,000 schools with 16,000 odd courses with 36,000 skills, have ranked in information technology as the fastest growing areas of skills in cybersecurity, network engineering, and also the information security. And I thought that was a really interesting point to end my presentation. Thank you once again for the opportunity and for the privilege to be able to talk today. That ends my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much for your nice presentation. So we are almost run over the time. So if our speakers are okay, so we will take few questions. So if there are any interested person, please raise your hand. I think we don't have any urgent question. So you can, of course, reach to us and also to the speakers through email. Oh, there is one hand raised. So please go ahead. We'll take your question.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Pyo from Myanmar. I would like to ask the three speakers for each question. For the first speaker, I would like to curious about the challenges of the teacher side while we are trying to implement the digital education. This question is for the first speaker, and for the second speaker, I would like to ask that what were your main challenges while you are implementing the DVD education in your region? I would like to ask this question because, as you know, internet can cover all region in my country also. That's why I would like to curious about it. What were your main challenges for while you are implementing the DVD education? The third question is goes to that speaker. I would like to know that where can I find the courses that offer from the APNIC and e-learning platform. And also, I would like to curious that are there any fee that the learner need to pay for, or it is a free learning platform? Thank you. That's all my question.
Okay, so I think from Peter, can you please answer? So we can start from the third question.
Yes, thank you for your question. So the first answer to your question is all courses are free on the Academy. We don't charge for anything. So you can spend 100 hours if you wish doing different virtual labs and experiences. So I'm going to put the website into the chat for everybody to have a look at. Using your APNIC login used for the conference, that will give you instant access into the Academy platform. So that hopefully answers your question. It's free, it's there to use, and you can use your APNIC login that you used for registering for the conference to access it.
Thank you, Peter. So Mahin, can you answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much for a very good question. Though the challenges were actually mainly to make us trust. So that is a very important. It was very important because only DVD could make change the real scenario, or issue, the real problem in countryside. That was the big issue. So when we started the DVD lessons, so many of them actually didn't trust us. That is possible using DVD. That was the big challenge. Second challenge was like getting the female students in our school. The number of female students from 2010 to 2012, it was just only 5%. But at that time, I and my team, those who were studying in Dhaka University, we went so many families' house, especially the houses, those who have a female students. who would like to go top university. So many parents actually are actually lost the trust, lost the confidence to send the female or their daughters to go in a city, especially having like the intensive lesson. But when we started the countryside, many of them even didn't trust us that we can send them in alone, especially that the coaching school or DVD-based school. But I visited so many families' house and convinced them. That was another challenge. And third challenge was like the financing issue, because mostly we did crowdfunding, raise small fund using like friends, Facebook. At that time, I was a student of Dhaka University, so most three of us founder. And now this NGO now eEducation now expanded more than 14 countries. But still at that time we were mostly student, and we didn't have enough like a gadget, computer or PC. So it was very hard work to manage people to get second-hand PC or second-hand laptop to use this project. These three was a big challenge at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahin. So Dr. Sudha, please.
Yeah, when you talk about this digital platform, we are actually facing a lot of challenges to bring the students to the digital platform. So though we have in India, we have good internet facilities, almost all areas are covered with internet, people are with mobile phones and all those things. The challenge is bringing the students into that mobile classroom or the e-classroom. That is actually the challenge. So the first thing what we expect is the government to support the people with the internet facility, the basic infrastructure, telecommunication infrastructure. So if there is a good support from the government for the telecommunication infrastructure, then it will be very nice to conduct such classrooms, provided the students should be self-motivated to attend such classes. And we also face a very big challenge when the exams are conducted. We do not know if they are writing from their mind or if they are writing from some other paper. That's actually a very big challenge. Though we have a lot of softwares, we actually follow an exam tool called as Neo exam. So even he moves a bit out of the screen, the shoulder has to be visible to the camera. And if there is a slight movement of the shoulder or anything, the captures and it tells you this particular person seems to move out of his place. So something wrong with his behavior and all those things. We do have such platforms, but still they find different ways to take up the exams. And so assessment part is still a very big challenge for us. So most of the colleges or universities here, what they have done is they have shifted more weightage to the internal components than for the external exams. However, that's how things are happening. So everything is still under research. We are trying it out, all are trial and error. So there is no one particular solution for this particular problem, but it's only because when you develop the self-motivation of the people, the student, it is possible for this e-learning platform to flourish.
Thank you, Dr. Sudha. And I would like to thank you all, especially our speakers, Dr. Sudha, Mr. Mahin, and Peter, for their nice presentation. And also Dr. Spring. Okay, so I'm sorry I couldn't pronounce.
You
okay.
can call her K. Is it right?
Okay. Yeah, Dr. K. Yeah. Thank you so much to you all for and also all the participants for participating our session. And we are going to continuously arrange this kind of webinar and seminars in future. And also we are going to arrange some camp and fellowship. So please, you can follow us in our Facebook pages and also in Instagram and also in Twitter. So thank you all for joining.